20 journalists from Nairobi and other counties including Isiolo and Samburu received investigative training organized by the Kenya Correspondents Association, Aspena Africa Initiative, and Free Press Unlimited with funding from the European Union. The aim of the training is to form a team dedicated to investigate journalism in Kenya and across Africa. This project will run for 36 months and target youth between the age of 18 and 35, with a total of 60 journalists expected to benefit.
My name is Janak Oloo. I'm the program director at the Kenya Correspondents Association. We have just concluded investigative journalism for 20 journalists. This is part of a 36-month project that we are implementing, and we work with partners Free Press Unlimited and Aspena Africa Initiative, but with the funding from the European Union. This is supposed to actually target young journalists from the age of 18 to 35, and we have brought together a team from Nairobi and its environs. This project is going to take another 36 months and so on. The first training was in Kisumu, where we also trained another 20, and then we also in Kisumu had what we call a media dialogue, because the media dialogue is supposed to bring media stakeholders together so that then they are able to interact with the media sector, give feedback on what the media should cover better, what improvements are supposed to be there, but also the journalists must be able to say what is it that they would like the public to understand about the media sector and the challenges. And so the one in Kisumu, the training and the media dialogue were very nice. In Nairobi, we have had the training, but we'll have the media dialogue in November. Then now, next month in October, we will be having the workshop for another 20 journalists in Mombasa, and then we'll also have the media dialogue. Altogether, we're supposed to train 60 journalists under this project. And then under the media dialogue, in Kisumu, we had about 60 people. In Nairobi, we'll have 100. In Mombasa, for the coast region, we'll have another 60. Now, the impact of this is supposed to create a new team of investigative journalists within Kenya, and of course, this is something that we aim to escalate possibly to the rest of Africa, because this is the goal, that we must have a new team of journalists, especially doing investigations that can help within the African context. This project also focuses on what we call Afri ethics, meaning that the investigative stories must focus on the local context, on the African context, and must be sensitive to culture, must be sensitive to religion, and all the other cultural issues and the political environment, so that the communities are able to benefit and get informed decision making through the stories that they tell. So we intend to have this and also influence. We'll develop products that will also support the rest of the Kenyan media industry. We will also be interacting with all the other media stakeholders within the Kenyan media industry, because we are not doing it ourselves, but we're also doing it for the rest of the Kenyan sector. So even the materials we develop, we will have it disseminated to the rest of the media sector, including the training colleges.
The beneficiaries expressed their joy, saying they gained a lot of knowledge and were inspired to pursue investigative journalism.
I am the Vice Chair, Kenya Correspondents Association. This week we've had a training on investigative journalism, training that is spearheaded by KCA, but funded by the European Union. It aims on training journalists, especially young journalists who are fresh from the colleges and universities, on having investigative skills. For me, it has been so exciting, meeting new friends, creating network, having fresh ideas with young journalists from different universities, and sharing our experiences. And as we go back home, we go back to our workplaces, we know very well that we are going to do stories that matter. And again, initially I've been thinking that investigative journalism is all about focusing on the negativity, but through this training we have discovered that you can do a positive story on investigative journalism. So as we are talking right now, I am energized. I am refreshed. I am going back to my place in Bungoma and in Kakamega, very refreshed, and I'm looking at a story differently with an investigative eye, having this information, and I'm very excited that we're going to be attached to mentors who are going to guide us. You know, as journalists, sometimes we go through different problems because maybe we are not being paid well. But through this, we've had and discovered that you can pitch a good story and get funding that will help you even to sustain yourself and even your family.
Ngori Wangeshi. I work with tuko.co.ke as a human interest and current affairs producer. It has been an insightful, educating, and very informative session that we've had for those 3 days. And I think the impact it will have, you know, they say that iron sharpens iron. So some of the people who have been training us actually are people who have been in the industry for long. So they have the experience, they're giving us their real life experiences in the field and even in their life. Therefore, this was an interactive training. We've learned a lot. As I said, it was insightful. And the impact would be to push further the investigative journalism in Kenya.
My name is Grace Wafubwa. I'm a radio journalist. I work with KBC. I'm based in Kisumu. I do 3 thematic areas, that is health, environment, and gender. So the 3-day experience here at Convent Hotel in Nairobi has been very insightful and very detailed. I learned a lot of things. I learned a lot of things during the 3-day duration. Matters on investigative journalism. It's an area that I'm really keenly wanting to venture into. So gaining those skills and insight on how to tell stories and how to even just do a good story in investigative journalism actually has given me a go ahead, and I'm really ensuring that when I go back to Kisumu, the story idea that I have, I ensure that that I'll be able to implement it. Apart from that, I've learned a lot in terms of scripting. I didn't know there are different types of scripting, especially even in investigative journalism, and the whole structure in terms of laying out an investigative story. Coupled with that, I've been able to network and make friends. Been able to learn from the expert in the field. Also, I can credit to Sam Munya, who's an head of investigative department, should be in African Assessor, and Madam Maslin was taking us through. And we hope that the skills gained will be able to ensure that we carry out a good story. In this case, he has partnered with other major stakeholders to ensure that even the space of women in investigative journalism at least tries to bring the numbers up, because you see that most of the time, most of the investigative pieces are being done with men. So the woman space is still, I can call it limited, but slowly and gradually we are opening it up. So I'm sure with this 3-year project, I'm very sure that these numbers will continue rising up.
And another thing that I've discovered, initially we just knew that it is men who can do investigative pieces. But from this, even the ladies can come out and do these stories, because it does not necessarily focus on the negative part. I want to urge as journalists to also be part of this movement on investigative journalism. Be bold, identify your credible sources, and you are going to be accountable. You are doing it to create awareness, and together we are going to move as a nation. We are going to move as a profession.
However, Janak Oloo, director of program KCA, urged the journalists to implement what they had learned and also to share the message with their fellow journalists.
The journalists who are trained are expected to begin to have a very critical mind in terms of what they'll be doing. And already we have started seeing that, because previously some of them were narrow in terms of what they thought could be investigative journalists, just focusing on corruption and a few other areas. But after the training, they have been able to see that even some of the issues that they used to ignore at the village level, make a lot of sense in terms of investigations. It could be cultural issues, it could be water, climate change, concerns at the village level that previously they didn't think, the local roads that are not being done, health facilities that have no medicine. So increasingly, we have realized, and of course agriculture, rural areas have huge issues around agriculture, fertilizer, crops that are failing, lack of extension offices and so on.
Reporting for Kamacho TV, my name is Wajumvi Kamacho.